I don't know where to start because even now it doesn't feel real. Maybe that's the worst part. How normal everything seemed before it all fell apart. Stephanie and I had been together for 10 years, married for 7. If you'd asked me a few months ago, I would have told you we had a solid marriage. We weren't perfect. Who is? But we had history, inside jokes, lazy Sunday mornings, and that deep, quiet understanding that comes from years of being each other's person. We had a 5-year plan. Buy a bigger house, maybe start a family if we felt ready. I wanted that more than she did, but she said we had time. No rush, she'd say, smiling. I believed her. But now, looking back, I see all the little cracks I ignored. It started with the phone. At first, it was subtle, turning the screen away when I walked into the room, setting it face down on the table. She used to leave it lying around, but suddenly, it never left her side. One night, I got up for water and found her sitting on the couch, phone in hand, screen glowing in the dark. She jumped when she saw me. Couldn't sleep, she said, a little too fast. I didn't think much of it at the time. Work had been stressing her out, and she'd been distant lately. I figured she just needed space. Then came the girls' nights. Stephanie had always been social, but suddenly, she was out every weekend, sometimes on weeknights too. I tried not to be the jealous husband, I wasn't that guy, but something felt off. The way she'd come home smelling like cologne that wasn't mine. The way she'd be extra affectionate afterward, like she was overcompensating. One night, I casually asked, "Who all was there?" She hesitated, then rattled off a few names. But the hesitation stuck with me. I told myself I was overthinking, until the night I saw the text. I wasn't snooping, honestly I wasn't. She left her phone on the kitchen counter while she was in the shower, and when it buzzed, I instinctively glanced at the screen. Just one line from an unsaved number. "Last night was amazing. Can't stop thinking about you." I swear I felt my stomach drop. I stood there, frozen, staring at the words like they might change if I looked long enough. I should have walked away. I should have confronted her right then. But I didn't. Instead, I swallowed it down and told myself there had to be an explanation. Maybe it was a joke. Maybe it was a wrong number. I told myself a lot of things. That night, as she crawled into bed beside me, resting her head on my chest like she always did, I realized something. I needed proof, and I was going to get it. I barely slept that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that message flashing behind my eyelids. "Last night was amazing. Can't stop thinking about you." It was too specific to be innocent, too intimate. By morning, I'd convinced myself I needed to be smart about this. If I confronted her now, she'd lie. I knew that much. I'd seen how smooth she could be when she wanted to be, how easily she could spin a story that made me doubt my own instincts. So I played along. I kissed her good morning, made us coffee, and asked about her plans for the day. She was all smiles, completely normal, like she wasn't hiding a damn thing. It made my stomach turn. I decided to start small. That afternoon I checked our phone bill. I'd never had a reason to before, but now I wanted to see if there was a pattern. It didn't take long. One number showed up over and over, late at night, sometimes for hours. I copied it down and ran a search. Nothing came up publicly, but I had a gut feeling. So I did the one thing I never thought I'd do. I called it. The first time, no answer. The second time, a deep male voice picked up. "Hey babe, what's up?" I didn't say anything. I just sat there, gripping my phone, hearing my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. The guy on the other end waited a few seconds. Then, "Steph." I hung up. My hands were shaking. I don't know if it was anger or adrenaline or just the sheer, gut-wrenching confirmation of it all. Stephanie was cheating on me. I felt like an idiot, like the last person in the world to figure out the joke when everyone else had been laughing behind my back. But I wasn't just going to let this happen. I needed to know who he was. That night, I acted normal. I sat through dinner, nodded at all the right times, even laughed when she made a joke. I let her think everything was fine. Then, after she fell asleep, I unlocked her phone. She thought she was smart, but I knew her passcode. It was the same one she used for everything, our anniversary. Ironic. I went straight to her messages. There he was. A saved contact. Just his initials. TB. Their texts weren't just casual flirting. They were raw, explicit, full of inside jokes and plans to meet up. My stomach turned when I saw her telling him she missed him, that she felt alive when she was with him, that I was too boring to notice. But the worst part? She wasn't just cheating with some random guy. She was cheating with my best friend, Travis. I felt something inside me snap. This wasn't just betrayal, it was humiliation. The one guy I'd trusted with everything. The one person I'd called a brother. I sat there in the dark, reading every disgusting message, and I made a decision. I wasn't going to just confront her. I was going to destroy her. And Travis? He had no idea what was coming. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was heartbroken, I'd moved past that. This was something else. A slow-burning, calculated rage that kept me wired, my mind racing with possibilities. Confronting her wouldn't be enough. Yelling, fighting, demanding an apology, what good would that do? She didn't respect me enough to be honest, so why should I give her the courtesy of a clean exit? No, I wanted her to feel the weight of what she'd done. I wanted her to understand what it was like to have your world ripped apart when you thought everything was fine. And Travis? I wanted him to suffer. So I started planning. The first step was gathering more proof. I screenshotted every incriminating message, every detail of their meetups, and backed them up to my cloud. Then I dug deeper. They'd been using a separate email account to send longer messages. She thought she was smart, keeping it off her phone. But she wasn't careful enough. She'd stayed logged in on our shared laptop. I scrolled through their exchanges, my stomach twisting at how easy it had been for them. I can't wait to see you again. I love how you make me feel. He's been so clueless lately, I think he actually believes I'm just busy with work. We should go away for the weekend. He'd never even know. That last one? It was from 2 days ago. They were still planning, still lying. And that's when the idea hit me. She wanted a weekend with him? Fine. I'd make sure it was one she'd never forget. The next morning, I kissed her goodbye like always. Pretended everything was normal. I even told her to have fun at her girls' night later that week. She smiled, completely oblivious. Meanwhile, I reached out to Travis' wife, Megan. She deserved to know. I'd always liked Megan. She was sweet, kind, the type of woman who believed in the best in people. She didn't deserve this any more than I did. I kept it simple. I sent her a message. Hey, I need to talk to you about something important. It's about Travis. Took less than a minute for her to respond. What's wrong? I didn't sugarcoat it. I sent her the screenshots, the texts, the proof. Then I told her my plan. She didn't hesitate. I'm in. That Friday night, Stephanie left for her girls' night. Except she didn't go to her friend's house. She went straight to a hotel. I knew because I was already there, waiting. I'd booked the room right next to theirs. Megan was with me. We were calm, focused. We were ready. We let them get comfortable. Let them think they were safe. Then, just as things were heating up inside their room, I knocked on the door. Hard. Silence. Then a muffled voice, Travis. Who is it? I smiled. Open up and find out. I could hear them scrambling. I could picture the panic on Stephanie's face, the way her mind was racing to come up with a lie. When the door finally cracked open, Megan stepped forward, holding up her phone, showing him every message he'd sent. You really thought we wouldn't find out? She said, her voice cold. Stephanie went pale. Babe, it's not what. I cut her off. Fun, right? You wanted a little fun? Well, I hope it was worth it. I watched the color drain from her face. Then I stepped aside, so the hotel manager could see exactly what was going on. Because here's the thing about cheating in a hotel. If the person paying for the room, Megan, in this case, doesn't want you there, you get kicked out. And that's exactly what happened. I watched them stumble out of that room half-dressed, humiliated, with nowhere to go. Megan and I, we just stood there watching them fall apart. And it was only the beginning. Stephanie stood there, wrapped in nothing but a cheap hotel robe, her face frozen in horror. Travis was just as bad. Half-dressed, fumbling with his clothes, looking anywhere but at me or Megan. The hotel manager crossed his arms. "Sir, ma'am, you need to leave immediately." Wait, no, I can explain," Stephanie stammered. "Go ahead," I said, tilting my head. "Explain. I'd love to hear this one." Her mouth opened, then closed. She had nothing. Megan let out a bitter laugh. "You didn't think this through, did you, Travis?" She turned to the manager. "They were using this room under my name. I want them out. Now." The manager didn't hesitate.
Understood, Mom.
"You too. Gather your things and leave the premises." The best part? Stephanie had left her purse in the room. Her phone, her keys, her wallet, everything. The manager wouldn't even let her go back in to grab them. "Come back in the morning," he said. "After checkout." I've never seen her look so small. We left them there, standing in the hallway, looking like a pair of idiots. Megan and I walked out of the hotel with our heads high, and for the first time in weeks, I felt in control again. I didn't need to yell. I didn't need to throw punches. I'd hit them where it hurt, their pride. And it wasn't over. When I got home that night, I poured myself a drink, sat on the couch and waited. It didn't take long. By 2 a.m., she was banging on the front door. I took my time opening it, let her stand out there in the cold for a bit. When I finally pulled it open, she looked wrecked. Mascara streaked, hair a mess, still wearing that stupid hotel robe. "Please," she whispered. "Let me in. Let's talk." I leaned against the doorframe. "Talk about what?" "How you've been sneaking around behind my back for months. How you told Travis I was too boring to notice." Her face crumpled. No, I never meant." "Never meant for what?" I cut in. "Never meant for me to find out? Never meant to get caught?" She let out a sob, covering her face. It wasn't serious. I just wanted a little fun. I never meant to destroy our family."
Esther here.
That was it? That was her excuse? I laughed. "Fun," I said, my voice colder than I thought possible. "Well, now you're in a hotel robe, standing in the freezing cold, and soon, you'll be my ex-wife." I shut the door in her face. She wailed. I locked it. Then I went to bed, and for the first time in a long time, I slept like a baby. Stephanie was just the beginning. The next morning, I sent everything I had, screenshots, emails, even a printed copy of their disgusting messages, to Travis's boss. Why? Because the idiot had been cheating on company time. Turns out, his company took that kind of thing seriously. By noon, he was fired. By evening, Megan had kicked him out, changed the locks, and filed for divorce. He lost everything. Stephanie tried to fight the divorce. She begged. She cried. She said we could work through this. But she didn't want to fix the marriage. She wanted to fix her image. Too late. I took everything I legally could. Our house, our savings, even the car I paid for. She left with nothing but a suitcase and a broken reputation. Last I heard, she was crashing on a friend's couch. Travis? He moved out of state, probably hoping to escape the embarrassment. Good. Let him run. Because me? I walked away with my head held high, and I never looked back. If there's one thing I've learned from all of this, it's this. People who betray you never expect you to fight back. They expect you to cry, to beg, to forgive. I did none of those things, and it felt damn good.